Welcome back to the CES Deep Dive, everybody.
Glad to be here.
This is our 25th Deep Dive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, to mark the occasion, we're going to take a look at some of the really big stories that are shaking things up in the aviation world right now.
Uh-huh.
So we've got a real mix of news.
Okay.
From, every corner of the industry, from sanctions
Yeah.
to mergers
Uh-huh.
to new planes.
Okay.
Taking to the sky. It's going to be a fascinating ride.
It really highlights how dynamic aviation is.
Yeah.
I mean, these stories are all interconnected in some way.
Yeah, right.
They really show just how global events and decisions can ripple through the entire sector.
Totally. So, okay, first up, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Mhm.
Sanctions on Russian airlines and airports.
Okay.
Things have gotten a lot tighter recently.
That's right. The European Union and the UK
Uh-huh.
have both significantly expanded their sanctions. And they now impact any airline operating domestic flights within Russia.
Wow.
They're banned from flying or even over EU airspace. So it's a huge step that goes beyond just targeting specific airlines or individuals.
I was surprised to learn that even if a Russian airline wanted to operate a domestic flight, using a plane that's owned by a company outside of Russia,
Right.
that they'd still be blocked.
They'd still be blocked.
From European airspace.
Yes.
That's pretty impactful.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's not just about who's flying the planes.
Uh-huh.
International companies
Okay.
that supply aircraft or even just goods to these Russian airlines are also facing restrictions.
Right.
Plus, 6 specific Russian airports are now off limits
Wow.
for EU-based companies due to concerns about their potential military use.
I see.
So,
The UK has also added
oh yeah.
S7 airlines to its sanctions list,
Yeah.
which is interesting because, they weren't really under
Right.
specific sanctions
Yeah.
outside of Ukraine before this.
Right.
So, this really feels like a major turning point
Definitely.
in the industry's response to the situation.
These sanctions create, like a cascade
Yeah.
of effects
Uh-huh.
throughout their industry.
Okay.
We're already seeing impacts on aircraft availability,
Right.
leasing arrangements,
Yeah.
and even flight routes as airlines scramble to adjust.
So now on a completely different note,
Okay.
let's jet over to Japan,
All right.
where all Nippon Airways,
Yeah.
better known as ANA,
Uh-huh.
is making waves
Okay.
with a gigantic 68 aircraft order.
This is a really significant development.
Yeah.
ANA is not just, adding to its existing fleet
Uh-huh.
of Boeing 787-9s
Okay.
and diversifying with, Airbus A321neos and Boeing 737-8s.
Right.
They're also making history with their choice of regional jets.
You're talking about the Embraer E190 E2s, right?
That's right.
That is first for Japan.
Yeah.
What's driving their decision
Wow.
to go with this particular model?
They're known for their fuel efficiency,
Uh-huh.
which is a big factor for airlines these days.
Right.
But it's more than just saving on fuel.
Okay.
The E190 E2 is perfectly suited for connecting smaller cities
Okay.
and opening up new routes,
Yeah.
which aligns perfectly
Uh-huh.
with ANA's long-term growth strategy.
And it looks like they're also thinking about,
Yeah.
their low-cost subsidiary, Peach Aviation,
Uh-huh.
with plans for them to expand using A321 XLR.
Yeah,
Those have incredible range, don't they?
they do.
Yeah.
Peach Aviation is clearly aiming for
Okay.
long-haul, low-cost travel with those.
Uh-huh.
ANA has a very clear vision for capturing different segments of the market.
Okay.
It's fascinating to see how they're strategically picking
Yeah.
aircraft to target
Right.
specific routes and passenger demographics.
Speaking of new strategies,
Okay.
let's swing over to Australia,
All right.
where Marumba Airlines,
Yeah.
a company specializing in charter and fly out operations,
Okay.
has gotten new owners.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Fly in, fly out.
Uh-huh.
This type of operation
Okay.
typically involves
Yeah.
transporting workers
What?
to remote locations,
Uh-huh.
like mines or oil rigs,
Right.
on a rotational basis.
Okay.
It's a crucial part of many industries in Australia.
Okay.
Especially in the resource sector.
Okay, so thanks for explaining that.
Yeah.
So what kind of impact could these new owners have on Marumba?
Yeah.
It's an interesting mix of expertise.
It is.
They're bringing to the table.
This new team has a diverse background in engineering,
Yeah.
operations,
Mm-hmm.
customer experience,
Yeah.
and even stakeholder engagement.
Wow.
So that combination could signal some big changes for the airline.
Right.
Whether it's, new routes, fleet expansion, or maybe even completely new approach to how they operate.
It makes you wonder if they'll stick with primarily, charter and fly out services, or if they're, looking to broaden their horizons.
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Now, shifting gears to a region that's investing heavily in aviation. Let's talk about Riyadh Air. This brand new Saudi Arabian airline has just received its air operator certificate.
Right. Which means they're cleared for takeoff, so to speak.
That's right. They're planning to launch commercial flights in the third quarter of 2025. And they've already got a whopping 99 aircraft on order.
Wow.
Including a mix of A321neos and Boeing 787s.
That's some serious ambition.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what their network looks like. Will they focus on, regional routes within the Middle East?
Yeah.
Or will they go head-to-head with established players on long-haul international routes?
Right.
Their strategy will be key to their success.
I'm curious about their target market, too.
Yeah.
Will they be going for the, luxury travel segment?
Right.
Or are they aiming for a more budget-conscious traveler? Their fleet mix suggests they might try to cater to both.
Yeah.
Which would be a unique approach.
Absolutely. It raises the question of whether they'll partner with any existing alliances or go it alone.
Yeah.
Trying to carve out their own space in a very competitive market.
Yeah.
Their entry could shake things up quite a bit.
From a brand new airline to the potential for consolidation, our next story takes us to the U.S. Where Sun Country Airlines has hinted at the possibility of mergers within the ultra low cost carrier or ULCC segment.
This is an interesting development, especially considering Sun Country's diverse business model. They're not just your typical ULCC, focused solely on passenger travel. They have a significant cargo operation, including a partnership with Amazon, which could complicate any merger plans.
That's a good point. It makes you wonder which other ULCCs would even be a good fit for them.
Right.
And does their interest in mergers signal a shift
in the overall ULCC landscape?
Right.
Are we about to see a wave of consolidation in that sector?
It's certainly possible. I mean, we've already seen mergers and acquisitions in other segments of the industry. And the ULCC market is becoming increasingly competitive.
Right.
Airlines might be looking to join forces to gain a bigger market share, achieve economies of scale, or simply survive in a tough economic climate.
Finally, let's loop back to Europe. Where Wizz Air, a Hungarian low-cost carrier, is setting its sights on Uzbekistan.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're exploring a joint venture with the Uzbek government, which could significantly expand air travel options between Europe and Central Asia.
So they're looking at establishing a new base in the country with potential routes to Tashkent, Samarkand, and even newer destinations like Namangan and Urgench.
What's driving their interest in Uzbekistan specifically?
Well, Uzbekistan has been actively developing its tourism industry, and improved air connectivity is a crucial part of that strategy.
Right.
They've been, easing visa restrictions and investing in infrastructure to attract more visitors. Wizz Air sees an opportunity to tap into this growing market. Particularly among, budget-conscious travelers who are looking for new and exciting destinations.
It's a win-win for both Wizz Air and Uzbekistan. Wizz Air gets to expand its reach into a new market with significant potential. And Uzbekistan gets a boost to its tourism industry. Which can have, positive ripple effects.
Exactly. Not the economy. It's a classic example of how strategic partnerships in aviation can benefit both the airlines and the countries they serve.
So looking at these stories as a whole, what strikes you as the most significant?
Well, for me,
take away.
It's the remarkable resilience and adaptability of the aviation industry, despite facing global challenges like sanctions, economic uncertainty, and increased competition. Airlines are finding ways to innovate, expand, and connect the world in new and exciting ways.
I agree. Whether it's, ANA embracing new aircraft technology, Marumba navigating, new ownership, or Riyadh Air launching with a bold vision. It's clear that airlines are constantly evolving and adapting to the changing landscape.
They're not just reacting to events. They're actively shaping the future of aviation. And that future is incredibly dynamic. We're seeing new technologies, business models, and routes emerging all the time. The industry is constantly in motion, which makes it so fascinating to follow and analyze.
Speaking of analysis, what stood out to you the most as we were, unpacking these stories? Was there anything that particularly surprised you or made you rethink your assumptions about the industry?
One thing that really struck me was the importance of strategic decision-making in aviation. From ANA's carefully chosen aircraft to Wizz Air's targeted market expansion. It's clear that airlines are thinking long-term and making calculated moves to position themselves for success. They're not just flying blind. They're navigating a complex and ever-changing environment with a clear vision for the future.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day news cycle. But it's important to step back and consider the bigger picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
These airlines are playing a long game. And their decisions today will have ripple effects for years to come.
Absolutely. And those ripple effects will extend far beyond the airlines themselves. Aviation plays a vital role in connecting people, cultures, and economies around the world. The decisions made by airlines today will shape the way we travel, do business, and experience the world tomorrow.
So as we wrap up our whirlwind tour of the global aviation industry, what's the one key message?
I'd say keep your eyes on the skies. Because the future of aviation is being written right now, from innovative aircraft designs to groundbreaking business models. The industry is on the cusp of a new era. And it's going to be an incredible journey.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of aviation.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, until next time, safe travels.